Hammer fam, welcome back to Hammered Head. Today we got a really cool looking one. It's a 30th anniversary collection, Han Solo with torture rack. What a bizarre thing that Hasbro made here. It's a really weird choice, but I'm all about it. I think it's a pretty cool looking accessory. Awesome image on the card back here. He does have a blaster in the picture. However, obviously when he was being tortured, he didn't have it, and I don't think he comes with it. But I think it looks pretty awesome there with the Bespin carbon freezing chamber background. Looks really goofy in there, but this is obviously an iconic scene. We got a whole 5 or 6 seconds of this torture rack on screen, so obviously we did need it, and thank goodness they made it. So check that off. Get a little exclusive collector coin. Really cool image back here of the torture rack in action, hanging out with Han Solo. Han and his friends go to Bespin to escape the Empire, but Han's friend Lando turns them over to their enemy, Darth Vader. Strapped to a rack, Han is tortured with no idea why, telling Leia afterwards, "They never even asked me any questions." There he is, just getting after it. Species human, status reluctant rebel hero, weapon of choice blaster pistol, characteristic refuses to surrender, which is pretty sick. Let's take a look at this torture rack. There he is on the torture rack. This thing is really awesome. I really love this. I'll call it a set. I mean, it's marketed as a figure, but it's basically a set. Really what you're paying for here is the torture rack. Han Solo figure is pretty nice, I guess, but the torture rack is where it's really at. So there's a ton of detail in this thing, and it does move, so pretty actually solid range of how far it can move up and down. But if you want to torture him, you go, psh, no, psh, ah! You go up and down. That's pretty fun, right? A little torture play action, or you can bring it up to him. That sucks for Han, right? Anyway, it looks really cool. Really solid, big accessory here. Bottom really doesn't have anything going on. Giant LFL and Hasbro China sign on there. But the detail on the front is really sick. I like how they sort of painted this orange to show that it's heating up. There's like random electrode things on here. Just a bunch of random things that look like they're going to shock and torture Han. We got some like cables running all over the place here. Even on the back. There's not a whole lot of detailing back here, but they do have these cables, which really adds to the realism, I guess. And then on the bottom, there's a sculpted floor there, which is a nice little detail. Yeah, just lots of like bolts and gears and stuff all over the place. Yeah, I think it's a really nice mold. And obviously Han does come out, so if you come on the left side, these straps detach. There we go. And then we can take Han out. And then once he's out, you can see behind there's actually like a sculpted padding where he's strapped down to, and it looks really realistic. So that's a fun little detail. And now we can look at the Han figure himself. The Han Solo here is technically the basic figure you're paying for, but I wouldn't really say he's the highlight of the set, although he is pretty decent. Not a whole lot of detailing on the pants or jacket or anything, but it does look good. He's got some nice stripes here. His shirt is untucked, which I believe does match what he looks like in the movie, so that's a pretty cool detail that they included. I do like the vest. Definitely not up to today's standards. As you can see, it's kind of like blocky. You can tell that this is like a separate piece from, it's not like a full jacket. But it's got a little sculpting around on it. Belt looks nice. Overall, not too bad. And then the face is really crazy. Obviously, they wanted him to look tormented because he's getting tortured, but it's pretty cursed. Not a huge fan of how that looks, but I think it's pretty cool what they tried to do. And then even his neck, they tried to show that he's like exacerbated. So some interesting detailing where they were able to get it. In terms of articulation, he's got a ball head, which moves pretty well, but his neck looks super long and kind of disjointed here, which is unfortunate. Then we got ball shoulders, elbows that go not very far at all. Swivel wrists. We got a ball waist, and the waist is kind of unfortunate. It moves pretty easily, but you can really see the joint in there, which kind of sucks. And then we got swivel hips, ball knees, and ball ankles. So he moves decently well enough, but you know, for the most part, I assume people are just going to put this guy in the torture rack and he's not going to move at all. But if you want to have him escape and run around and grab a blaster and start shooting stormtroopers or something, I suppose you could. You know, obviously not the best articulation. Oh yeah, see that? You can really see the hips in there. That kind of sucks. Yeah, not the best articulation because he's an older figure, but good enough that you can still use him as an action figure and not just a prop for the torture rack. Coin is pretty cool too. It says Han Solo, Rebel Leader. And it's just an image of him getting tortured on here. Gosh, it's really hard to see. There, that's better. That's a pretty decent sculpt of him right there. Doesn't really look like him, but the action shot is pretty sweet. Then on the back, it just says Empire Strikes Back. I always like getting these little fun inclusions to collect. Now it's your turn. So that's the Han Solo torture rack. All in all, I think this is a really great figure. Definitely worth getting. I say figure, really, it's a set again. Han Solo, I think, is actually in a pretty cool outfit, all things considered. I don't know off the top of my head what other versions of this Bespin Han are out there, because this isn't the best, but it's kind of fun the way they gave him that face, and he looks really awesome in the torture rack. Even if you don't want Han, though, the torture rack is like the coolest accessory that you can get in like a basic figure. That thing is really fun. So if you got like an Imperial base or something, you got like an ISB setup, maybe you can throw like a Rebel on here to torture, or something like that. Maybe even like Jabba's palace, maybe he's like torturing smugglers that did him wrong or something. I don't know. You can have a lot of fun with this torture rack. I think it's a great world building piece. And this is not a super expensive guy to pick up, so definitely worth getting for your collections. And I would recommend him definitely. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Be sure to follow on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Check out the Patreon page, and don't forget, stay hammered.